So now we start with the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. So the treatment is divided into conventional synthetic DMARDs and targeted synthetic DMARDs. So firstly, we understand what is a DMARD, disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, and what do? They cause regression of radiological progression. So they are divided into DMARDs are divided into synthetic and biological. Among them, the conventional synthetic DMARD, targeted synthetic DMARD, and biological DMARDs. So in the conventional synthetic DMARDs, we have the usual methotrexate, leflunomide, sulfasalazine. HCQS is not a true DMARD as it does not cause regression of radiological progression or stops the progression of radiological changes. The targeted synthetic DMARDs are tofacitinib, baricitinib, and upadacitinib. So, and biologicals are infliximab, adalimumab, golimumab, certolizumab. These are the TNF alpha inhibitors. The CD20 blocker is rituximab. IL-1 inhibitor is anakinra. The CTLA agonist, that is a negative co-stimulation agonist, is abatacept. So what we need to know is the MAP drugs are biologicals and are parenteral as they are big drugs. They can be subcutaneous, IV. While the MIB, tofacitinib, the NIB drugs, they are targeted synthetic DMARDs and they are oral drugs. Alright. So, and what about glucocorticoids? They are only useful in acute phase to tide over it. They are not useful in established RA. So, and they are used in moderate doses, low to moderate doses. So we'll take a detour. What is a low dose glucocorticoid? That is a less than 7.5 milligram prednisolone equivalent. Low dose. Moderate dose is up to 30 milligram is a moderate dose. 30 to 100 milligram is a high dose. More than 100 is very high dose, and more than 250 is pulse therapy. And tapering, what we do is we reduce the dose and we increase the duration. So we come to individual drugs now. HCQS. HCQS is not a true DMARD. Basically, it should be given only up to 5 milligram per kg maximum dose, and maximum dose per day is 400 milligrams. The ADRs are GI intolerance, headache, cardiotoxicity, that is QTC prolongation, and retinal toxicity, that is bullseye maculopathy. The other one is blood dyscrasias. So when do we screen? We screen at the end of 5 years of therapy. Every year after that. And how do we screen with? Screening is done with either OCT, that is ocular coherence tomography, automated field testing, and fundus autofluorescence. Not with routine fundus. This is something to be understood and remembered. Now we come to sulfasalazine. The dose to be started is 500 milligrams BD, maximum up to 1.5 gram BD. ADRs are granulocytopenia, autoimmune hemolytic anemia, that is G6PD deficiency. CBC needs to be done every 4 weeks for 3 months, followed by once every 3 months. That is every month for 3 months and then every 3 months. Now we come to the wonder drug, methotrexate. methotrexate. Now it is to be started in the dose of 7.5 milligram once a week, maximum up to 25 milligrams once a week. Its bioavailability is better subcutaneously if the dose is above 15 milligram. And folic acid or folic acid 1 milligram per day for 5 to 7 days needs to be given. The ADRs are bone marrow toxicity or suppression, hepatotoxicity, interstitial pneumonitis, hence to be given very cautiously in ILD, and X-ray needs to be done before starting. Infections, and it is contraindicated in pregnancy. It is a category X drug. Other very bad ADRs are anticipatory vomiting, for which the drug of choice is ondansetron. Alopecia, fatigue can also occur. CBC, LFT and creatinine needs to be done every 3 months. One thing we need to understand is there needs to be a creatinine clearance based dose modification after 65 years of age. And avoid use if creatinine clearance is less than 10 ml per minute. Now we come to leflunomide. One thing is left in methotrexate. The pregnancy for conception we need to wait for 3 months after stopping of methotrexate to conceive. And in case of leflunomide, we need to wait for 2 years after stopping of leflunomide to conceive. Both are category X drugs. Okay. So the dose of leflunomide is 10 to 20 milligram per day. The ADRs are very important: hepatotoxicity, bone marrow suppression, infection. So we need to again go for CBC, LFT and creatinine every 2 to 3 months. And what do we need if there is a toxicity of leflunomide? This is the drug that we go for: cholestyramine washout. We give it for 8 milligram TDS for 11 days to reduce the toxicity. And another thing that you must have noticed is that the ADRs are similar to methotrexate, so we don't combine the two. All right. And the dose limiting toxicity, which is very important, dose limiting toxicity is diarrhea. So some one-liners. What is the drug of choice for active RA? DOC for active RA. The drug of choice for very early RA? Vera is very early RA. ERA is early RA. Established RA? With deformities, and RA with patient wanting to conceive. So for drug of choice for active RA, early RA, very early RA, or established with deformities, the answer for this is methotrexate, while the answer for RA patient wanting to conceive is sulfasalazine. Now we come to biological DMARDs. Okay, one thing is left. What are the indication of steroids in RA? Low dose can be given in active disease. Early. What are the indications for high dose? There are three indications. One is vasculitis, another is ILD, and third is mononeuritis multiplex. Now we come to biologicals. The TNF alpha inhibitors. So which is the chimeric one? Infliximab. The XI is for chimeric. Which is the humanized one? It is certolizumab. And fully human? Adalimumab and golimumab. So XI is for chimeric, humanized is ZU, and MU is fully humanized. What is the main ADR? The main ADR is infusion reactions or injection site reactions. So the only available drug that is to be given IV only drug that is available in IV preparation is infliximab. Okay. So which is the drug that is given weekly? Yes, etanercept. Which is given fortnightly, that is once in 15 days, adalimumab. Monthly, golimumab. And with a loading dose, certolizumab. Another thing we need to understand here is we should never combine two biologicals. Why do we not combine two biologicals? Because of the increased risk of LTBI, latent tuberculosis infection. What is latent tuberculosis infection? Before starting any TNF alpha drugs, we go for IGRA, or quantiferon TB gold test. And we look for latent tuberculosis infection. Another way to look for it is Mantoux, and if the induration is more than 5 mm, then it's positive. And X-ray is always critical. What are the other things we look for? We look for NYHA, grade classification as class 3 and 4 CHF, that is heart failure, is a contraindication. Okay. Now we go for, now etanercept is basically any drug with sept. Sept means fusion protein. Okay. So what is fused? The TNF receptor 2 with FC portion of IgG1. The TNF receptor 2 means P75 portion. This is fused. Now we come to some interesting points. Least half-life is etanercept. Highest half-life, longest half-life, is infliximab. It is 8 weeks. Least placenta transfer, certolizumab. Preferable drug in RA with history of TB in the past. With history of TB in past is etanercept. Now most immunogenic is the chimeric one. It is infliximab. Least immunogenic is golimumab, followed by etanercept. Now which cannot be given as monotherapy? Infliximab. So, and biological, not requiring latent tuberculosis infection monitoring, is rituximab. Drug associated with hepatitis B reactivation is rituximab. And drug before which methylpred needs to be given is rituximab. Now, only targeted synthetic DMARDs can be given as monotherapy drugs. But there is one biological approved for monotherapeutic use, and that is tocilizumab. It is IL-6 receptor blocker, and one of the main ADRs is dyslipidemia. Another ADR is sepsis. So what are the contraindications for tocilizumab? Active sepsis, that is WBC count of less than 4,000 or more than 11,000. Thrombocytopenia of less than 1 lakh. Dyslipidemia. Active hepatitis or CLD. These are the contraindications. Now, another drug, the targeted synthetic DMARD, causes dyslipidemia. Also causes neutropenia, pharyngitis, transaminitis, URTI, diarrhea, headache, herpes zoster activation. Most importantly, pulmonary thromboembolism and DVT in the dose more than equal to 10 milligram per day. And funnily enough, it is given in COVID-19 infection. Tofacitinib. The reports are conflicting, and in a procoagulant milieu, tofacitinib needs to be avoided. That is my perspective on this. I don't want to disrespect anyone. Now, silicone implants are used for MCP arthritis. Ankle arthroscopy and arthrodesis. Arthrodesis is fixation of the joint. Can be done. It is a painless. It causes painless ankle. Arthroscopies are approved for knee, ankle, shoulder, and hip. And for shoulder, we do a reverse arthroscopy. Now, what happens in pregnancy? RA begins to come down in first and second trimester. RA goes into remission in the third trimester. The reason for it is the Th1 phenotype goes into the Th2 phenotype. The thing that we need to understand is Th1 is inflammatory and Th2 is anti-inflammatory. So IL-10 predominates, which is the anti-inflammatory cytokine, and hence it it causes remission, and it comes back, relapses in the post delivery phase or the puerperium. Now, drugs to be avoided and contraindicated are methotrexate and leflunomide. Can be given is sulfasalazine. TNF alpha inhibitors can be given up to 20 weeks. Now, special conditions in which what treatment needs to be given. One is Feltes syndrome, that is RA plus neutropenia plus splenomegaly in a long-standing case, long-standing disease. And LGL, large granular lymphoma, that is early disease. In both the conditions, we give methotrexate as the drug of choice. So this finishes RA. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Thank you very much.